This podcast is a part of the Podmania podcasting network. Check out podmania.co.uk to check out more of our great podcasts, features, reviews, match ratings and previews spanning the crazy and diverse world of professional wrestling. Hello guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your now weekly audio source of all things world-wondering Stardom, right here on the Podmania podcasting network. I am your host, Rob Goodwin, and I am joined as ever by Chris O'Brien. Chris, how the devil are you, my son?
My brother walked in during a death match, as in like a Death Yamasan match, not like a death match, and I don't think he can ever look me in the eye again.
It's one of those that, and I've said this before, it's one of those things where you can't... Some people will ask, why do you watch wrestling? And I will say, it's the storytelling, it's the drama, it's an art form. And then you watch a Gokigen Death match, and you just sort of go, I really hope people don't walk in. It's got to a point now where if my girlfriend comes in and watches over my shoulders and I'm watching a Gokigen Death match, I have to put hardcore porn on because it's less embarrassing.
Just walked in, it's like, yeah, Rob's just watching what he normally does.
She just walks off shaking her head. Oh, prick.
It speaks volumes when you'd rather have Daddy being splurted through your speakers rather than Death.
It's just like, Rock, Austin, Hogan, Savage, all these things. And then you look at this small Japanese woman dressed as a clown. And it's like, there's no way that I can justify it to anyone.
Well, I was going through my 97 project recently, and Christ, what was it? Oh, it was a match with the Patriot. And I'm like, this is the most American wrestling thing I've ever seen, and I don't think I can explain it away if someone walks in.
More American than Sergeant Slaughter?
Well, he's not exactly going to be in my 1997 watch project.
You might see a lot of him. I'm sure he's like some sort of authority figure on Raw.
Yeah, but I'm not watching like promos. I'm watching like I'm watching like just matches. Like I'm watching like pre-match promos for like WWF stuff. But otherwise, yeah, I'm not watching like Vince McMahon segments. Fuck.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Although I found some oddities in Matt Antonio Inoki's never-ending retirement tour. They're not on the cage match recommended because they're not good matches, but I actively want to watch each and every one of the matches on the Antonio Inoki retirement tour because they're all going to be bad, and I'm completely here for that.
Well, it was like when Tenryu's retirement, he took on Okada, and like, from an actual in-ring standpoint, it is not a good match. Like, Tenryu at this point is pretty much immobile, and Okada has to work very, very fucking hard to put on a decent match. Mm-hmm. But the drama and everything, it is an entertaining watch. And I do recommend everyone go out and watch it. I think it's called Project Tenryu, and it's him versus Okada. I think it's from back in 2015. But it's a watch.
That won Tokyo Sports match of the year, didn't it?
I don't know. I imagine that was more for the fact that this huge giant of the industry had retired, as opposed to, look how amazing. He wasn't doing any Dragon Ranas, let's put it that way.
That always seems to be a thing in Japanese wrestling where people will come out of retirement to face that one ace, like Chono came out of retirement. No, was it Gotch? I think Karl Gotch came out of retirement to face Chono.
I think I've read this somewhere.
I heard it on wrestling. I think I saw it on Wrestling with Regret. So
that's exactly where I heard it. I rewatched that video. It was is it the one 8 wrestlers who were bigger in Japan than they were over here?
No, I think it was 8 wrestlers who. No, it was in the 8 wrestlers who came back from gruesome injuries.
Oh right, okay,
and he was talking about Chono. So to get over how big a deal he was. Although there's some Chono matches on my watch list, and I know that 97 Chono isn't like 91 Chono, where he's like this amazing technical master. He's basically an NWO dickhead.
Yeah, it is not. It is a very, very different Chono, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So apart from your 97 watch project, Chris, delight the listeners with what else you've been up to.
Playing a lot of Pokemon, because there's very few things that bring me joy in the world now. So Pokemon. Buying a lot of actually DVDs and Blu-rays. I own Indiana Jones now, so I'm going to get those watched probably this week.
Which ones? All of them?
The original trilogy. I've seen Crystal Skull, and I didn't like it, but then people shout at me because that's the only one I've seen.
I think they are rightly justified in shouting at you regarding that. But...
I don't think it's a good movie. And
it's not.
And I don't at all think it's representative of Indiana Jones, because when I was told about Indiana Jones, I didn't think aliens.
Nobody did. Nobody tunes in to an Indiana Jones film. One that is rooted in the past and things like that, and thinks, crystal aliens and Shia LaBeouf.
Actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, what a song
I watched all three Spider-Man movies over the weekend, and first two hold up especially well, and because I haven't seen them in 5 years, they made it onto my list. Currently, Spider-Man 1 is at 11th, and Spider-Man 2 is at 7th. They're both really, really strong superhero films. However, Spider-Man 3, below Jurassic Park. That's how much I don't like that film.
I don't know what the dance scene is up there as one of the most polarizing scenes I've seen. Some people are saying it's a beautiful embodiment of how much of a dickhead Peter Parker had become. Others, me included, think, oh my fucking god, kill it with fire.
Well, that's the thing. The dance scene is one of my favorite parts of the movie, because I was actually enjoying myself during it. It goes very quickly from laughably stupid to lifeless very quickly, because Sam Raimi very clearly didn't give a fuck. He did a fucking Amnesia storyline. This is a film made up of soap opera tropes.
The third film, it's been a while since I've seen it, because as soon as they cast Topher Grace as Venom, I was like, no, I'm done with this. I'm done with this entire fucking franchise. The guy from that 70s show, no. I don't care how much muscle he's put on. Absolutely fucking not.
If you want to borrow it, I own it on Blu-ray. So.
Do you know what? I'm good. I'm good, mate.
I need to get rid of the Blu-ray. I don't want it.
I think the problem is as well, they tried to shove too many villains in, and this is a problem with quite a few superhero films. They try and throw too many villains into it rather than focusing on one and developing one. They tried to throw, you got Sandman, you got Venom, you'd got the whole Harry Osborn thing going on, and it was too much. It was the entire thing with Sandman should have had its own film, should have been more developed, and should have been its own film. And I'm sorry, you see Venom for 5 minutes of the film, I think? 12 minutes of the film?
Sam Raimi didn't want it in the film. Sony forced him to put it into the film. It was just going to be Green Goblin and Sandman.
Which is fine, because the storyline behind Sandman is it's one that engages you. It's quite a nice storyline, but...
Yeah, and you don't need to give Harry a ton of time, because his motivations have been built up over the last two movies. So those two coming together would almost make perfect sense. And then aliens.
Yeah, and then aliens. Fucking aliens. However, Chris, believe it or not, this is not a Spider-Man podcast. This is not a Sam Raimi podcast, which is good, to be perfectly honest, because...
Yeah, because otherwise we'd have to talk about tree rape.
Exactly. So, what we're going to do today, then, we are going to talk about Nights 3 and Nights 4 of the Goddesses of Stardom Tag League. Night 3 from Kanazawa on the 17th of October, and then Night 4, the Korakuen Hall show, which was main evented by Mayu versus Takumi Iroha. We are going to do our best to pronounce it Iroha. If all else fails, we'll just call it Takumi, because I'm still calling her Ihora. But I promise you, me and Chris will do our best to pronounce it correctly.
We're trying to because apparently no one felt the need to point it out for what 8 months I've been saying it Iroha.
Yeah, it's yeah. Anyway, first things first, Chris. I just wanted to say that I have now watched the first Mayu versus Takumi match from February.
Finally.
But I'm not going to talk about that until we get to the main event of night 4. I think it's nice to talk about them both together because they both build on the storyline. So it works to do both in one, I think.
Yeah.
What we'll do then is we'll start with night 3. Overall, Chris, I thought this was going to be a bit of a throwaway night, and to a certain extent it was. However, there were some decent matches on this Kanazawa card.
Yeah, this was a fun card. Stardom matches are almost always fun cards because for the most part, unless they're deciding, hey, let's be wacky and do a time limit draw again, it's all good. It's all fine. All the matches are short and don't outstay their welcome. Like, especially this first match was exactly the length it needed to be, as was the triple threat, which I thought was exceptionally fun. And then all the tag league stuff delivered. And then the last match was really good. DDM are really turning me around, especially Natsupoi. I'm really enjoying Natsupoi. We'll get to that.
Completely agree with you. So this was the 17th of October, as I've already said, from Kanazawa Distribution Hall in front of 258 people. We opened with a singles match with Utami Hayashishita defeating Saya Iida at 8 minutes and 5 seconds with a German suplex. Chris, thoughts on this match?
A beautiful deadlift German suplex. This is fun. This is basically Saya Iida's dynamic throughout the whole 5-star, where it's like, shit, I should probably try to win this, but I do not have any moves that can finish people. I have a drop kick and a power slam. Please help me. But no, it was fun, especially like especially as an opener. It's almost standard. Like, it's basically like a Young Lion match in New Japan, except with 2 people who were in the 5-star, and it was fun. Utami needed to be on the card and get over. It served its purpose, and I didn't hate it. So
I enjoyed the clear lack of respect from Utami. Like, not only calling herself Big Sister in the promo and refusing to shake a hand, but, like, there was all these little smirks and smiles as Saya was unloading her offense on her. It reminded me of when Azumi and Momo took on Saya and Hanan from, I think it was night 2. And just that sort of, what are you doing? I'm better than you. And I thought that played in really, really well to, like, this simple storyline in the story. I also enjoyed the wide-eyed surprise we were getting from Utami in some of those kickouts on the closing stretch. Like, oh, fuck, that was close. I did quite enjoy that. And yeah, we really, really need to talk about that finish because beautifully crafted, Chris.
Yeah, Utami's getting so good. Like, for like most of 2019, she was like, oh, she's really good for how long she's been wrestling. But over the course of this year, she's been getting to the point of, no, she's just one of the most captivating workers on the roster. And, like, Stardom's getting pretty stacked right now, so that's saying something.
Yeah, absolutely. Saya rolling through a German, only for Utami to roll through it again and then deadlift Saya over her head. And I know Saya is not the tallest, but even so, it's a beautiful visual.
Yeah, and to be fair, being small, like, he could, center of gravity could be harder to pick up. Like, heavy small things are sometimes harder to pick up than heavier big things. So, science with Chris.
Sorry, that
I'm talented in other ways.
Oh God. Oh, I must admit, I did give this an extra star just for that finish. I gave it 6. I thought it was a good, solid opening match.
Yeah,
you're right. Utami does need to get over, especially with what we're going to talk about at the culmination of night 4. Saya Iida really impressed me here. Spoiler, more than she impressed me on night 4. Really did not enjoy that match. We'll talk about that in a minute.
I've already forgotten what her match was. Hang on. Okay, yeah, we'll get to
her versus Tam. I really enjoyed as well when Saya tried to change tack and was just like, right, okay, the power moves aren't working, so I'm going to try and chop at Utami. And she did a couple of chops, and then Utami fucking decapitated her with a clothesline. I quite enjoyed the brutality of it.
That's a Walter spot right there.
It was. Absorb all the punishment and then just fucking peel her head off her shoulders. Lovely.
just the commentator shouting, Misawa! Misawa!
Yeah, I gave it 6, Chris. What about you?
I gave it 6. It's a cut above most Stardom opening matches because normally it involves one of the children, but instead it involved one of the rookies, which is somehow a cut above. It's weird that some of the children are like veteran workers next to Sairida and Sayakamata.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move to match 2 then, which was a 3-way dance. Konami defeating Starlight Kid and Saya Kamatani at 7 minutes and 21 seconds with a brutal-looking triangle arm lock.
Yeah, first of all, I found I've been skipping entrances a lot because I've been falling behind with watching before we're recording, but like Tosaya's entrance here was a bit weird.
Do you mean her dance?
Yeah, like she did, and it's just what it's called up here. I'm not sure if it's called up there, but we call what she did a slut drop up here.
Yeah, I think that might be a very English and Scottish term.
We're a lot more casual with words up here than we are in America. I'm so sorry, but yeah, that's just. So I just saw that, and I was like, "Oh, that's a slut drop." I'm like, "Can I mention this on the podcast?" Because that's just what it's called here.
To be fair, I will say she was a dancer or part of a girl group before wrestling, and she does.
Oh, is she an idol?
Yes, I think she was.
Okay.
And she does do that. She does this for her singles entrance. She doesn't do it for the tag with Utami, but she does do it for her singles.
Yeah, because that's been the only entrance I've been seeing this tag, so that's probably why it's new to me. Yeah, but other than that, this match was actually really this match felt more developed than the 7 minutes 21 second runtime would lead you to believe. It was just a really fun, fast-paced match. I like how Konami was out the ring for most of it, not because she was thrown out, just because she was like, you see fine.
Opportunistic Konami. It was fucking great.
The rated K superstar. The Saya and Starlight work really well together. They both well served as high-speed performers, but also are starting to get a bit more laid, especially Saya, who's like, again, her facials and everything else is really good. She didn't have to film this match, which helped it along. Kanami just coming in when she needs to was absolutely perfect. And yeah, that Kimura at the end, Jesus Christ.
It looked like she wanted to wrench Saya Kamatani's arm off.
Yeah, it's like if Saya had like tapped straight away, I would completely understand. It's one of those moves where it's like almost more legitimate if you tap right away, like when Brock used to do the Kimura and then stop for some reason.
He did, yeah. I enjoyed quite a lot of this match. I enjoyed the exchanges that Starlight and Saya had. I had a proper belly laugh moment where Starlight Kid got thrown outside. And we cut back to the action in ring, and it was Konami inside. And then we cut back outside, and Natsuko Tora is just sitting on Starlight Kid. That really. And then Mayu has to come up to her and just like push her off and go, get off her. And it just, I don't know why, it proper tickled me for about 5 minutes. Just Tora sitting on Starlight as she's struggling to get out. Really made me laugh. You're absolutely right. Opportunistic Konami is best Konami. That moment where she's outside the ring, Starlight goes for a Keychain bomb, so quick as you like. Konami just slides in, punts, which seems to be Stardom's new thing. Whenever Starlight is trying to do a Keychain bomb, the other person needs to come in and just belt her across the arena, which is brilliant. Really entertains me. But yeah, those exchanges between Starlight and Saya, alongside the amped up aggression of Konami, really made me enjoy this match. I thought it had a really good dynamic. And yeah, I gave it 7 stars. A really enjoyable undercard match. And this is what I meant about night 3. There was what would otherwise be, relatively throwaway match, especially as considering they turned Konami at Yokohama Cinderella, and it was the biggest angle going in. They haven't done a lot with Konami, and I mentioned this on the last podcast, that they seem to be focusing the Black Widows tag team more on B. And I suppose when you consider that B is going to be quite prevalent on New Japan programming as well as part of the Empire, that makes sense, I suppose, in a way. It just seems very strange that you would do this big turn for Konami and then not focus on it. This was a beautiful time to really focus on heel Konami, because this is what this match was about. I mean, it could have been against two completely random people, but it just so happened that it worked really well with Saya Kamitani and Starlight.
Hello.
What happened there?
Yeah, you sort of glitched out for a second.
Oh, sorry. Carry on.
So, yeah, I completely agree that this is probably the best showcase of Konami since the turn. But Stardom seems to do this a lot. Like, if you remember when Saki turned earlier in the year, it was like the big thing at the end of 9th anniversary, and then nothing really happened until March. So, like, this isn't something new for Stardom. They do sort of let turns meander for a little bit, maybe to find their groove before they're put into a big program, which I guess makes sense.
Mm. Yeah.
But yeah, like this match was just like, again, I also gave it a 7. We're so in sync today until the main event. Jesus Christ, the blood that will be let there. But yeah, this is really good. I can't say anything more about it than you did. Just, yeah, good stuff. Actively go check this one out, especially considering it's only 7 minutes long.
Yeah, absolutely. Match 3 then. First tag league match. And I can't wait to share my first note with you, Chris. Match 3 saw Color Me Pop, the team of Gokigen Death and Riho, defeat Crazy Bloom, the team of Julia and Micah, at 8 minutes and 47 seconds with the roll-up. So, first thing that I've put here is, oh, for God's sake. And then I've also put, the reign of the clown has fucking begun. Because now, Chris, you know what I said last week about how, oh God, imagine if she got a pinfall win over Julia as well and she ended up with legitimate claims to both the white and the red belt. It's come true, Chris. It's happening. It's happening.
Before we get to Brazil, what I first need to ask is what is Death's obsession with Julia? Because she keeps trying to get Julia to fight her in like every tag match they're in.
I must admit, and I hate myself for this, Chris, I'm really enjoying the dynamic of Colour Me Pop, and I really shouldn't, but I am really enjoying it.
Well, where Rio is basically getting Death all these wins.
Yeah, pretty much. Doing all this work, and then Gokigen Death comes in with a roll-up.
Well, we'll say, like, before we descend into, like, the Death bollocks that we normally do, now that she looks like Mr. Tumble. Micah using her power moves against Rio, again, finally a good idea.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at she's across the ring from.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, like, finally a good idea. They keep using it against the smaller people, stop using it against the likes of Jungle and Itami. There was do-si-dos, and I didn't quite understand. Because Stardom mode was weird with this upload, right? So I watched, like, the full show upload instead of match by match, and it kept jumping to, like, 20 seconds prior in the match. So I got the do-si-dos twice. And I was like, is this happening again? No, it's just been cut weird, and I don't know why.
I had that with the Aphrodite Momo AZ match from Korakuen.
Yeah, I had that as well. I had that with that Oedo Tai Momo match from later in the night. So that's weird.
Yeah,
maybe it's like, I guess since they're like rushing a lot of these to Stardom World faster than they normally would, that like editing quirks like that are slipping through the cracks, but I'm not quite sure how an editing quirk like that would even get in.
No, I don't. I mean, I'm not trying to tell anyone that I have any idea how any of this happens, but surely something like that, I don't understand how that would happen anyway. It's almost like someone recorded over the last bit of the match with another bit of the match. Very, very strange. Very strange. I really enjoyed Micah's look of absolute bewilderment during the opening exchanges, as though to go, what the fuck is this?
I'm still not used to Gohan Death. Like Gohan Death.
Gokigen Death.
No, but that's it. Like, she's so distracting, and it shouldn't be that distracting because I watch enough lucha to be used to like colorful things flying across the ring for no reason. But like, it's the fact that she just keeps stopping mid-match to say death. And I know she did that before, but before she didn't look like the love child of Pennywise and the Joker. So I don't know what to tell you, but it looks like something Jared Leto would think of and then write a really shit album about.
To be fair, we do need to talk about how she's changed up her gear, Gokigen Death, because she now has a yellow star painted in the middle of the forehead. So there's that.
Well, she isn't stars, so brand loyalty, I guess, is more brand loyalty than like Cody showed to Bullet Club. But I can't fairly talk about death matches anymore because I'm just so distracted throughout the whole thing, and it's not helped by the fact that she's in more of this match than Rio is.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think every Gokigen Death, Color Me Pop match, the focus is on Gokigen Death. And I did see something on Twitter earlier where they're saying, well, are AEW saying she can perform, but she needs to be held back a little bit just to make sure she doesn't get injured. I don't know how true that is, but it would make sense as to why we're getting so much Gokigen Death.
That would be a theory, but also I think we're just trying to get over the new character for Death.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, to be honest, this is someone who's now got pinfall victories over Mayu and Julia. Just let that sink in for a moment. She has legit. I mean, to be honest, I'm amazed that we've gone with Mayu versus Utami for the Sendai show in November. I mean, Gokigen Death versus Mayu has main event written all over it.
Now we need to do that when Mayu brings out a second book.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, that was my favourite match of the 5-star. It really was. Unexpectedly entertaining. I love Julia in this match. I love the fact that her real sticky point is Gokigen Death that she cannot beat and she can't get past it and she doesn't know why. And the fact that she lost and she got that angry that she lost that she started lashing out at the referee. She was getting annoyed at Micah for not stopping Rio, breaking up pinfalls. She's proper going to pieces. I did really enjoy that. I mean, ultimately this is a Death Yamasan match at its core, so it's got a ceiling. But I am enjoying it a lot more than when she was Death Yamasan. There seems to be a little bit more there, and I don't know whether it's just because she's a clown and she's therefore more happy, therefore there's more stuff to do.
Happy there.
Well, I've also seen, I don't know if you've noticed, at Korakuen, that was the first time that I'd seen her video package, and it's just an empty fairground, which is absolutely harrowing. That is fucking terrifying.
Well, that's doink bullshit. That's early doink bullshit.
Exactly. So yes, I imagine come year-end climax, we are going to be seeing double belt death. So yeah, just put a note in this podcast, put a little pin in it, and come back and we'll do our victory lap later.
It would still be better than Evil, double champ Evil.
It would. Yeah, absolutely. I gave this 5 stars, and I know that is probably a little high, but I don't care. I do really enjoy the tag team chemistry between Color Me Pop, more than I should do, I think, and definitely more than Clown Scared Chris. So, yeah, I gave it 5, Chris. What about you?
I just said where I normally put rating, I just put fuck it. I don't remember writing that, but that's apparently what I've written. So fuck it. That's my rating.
Match 4 then, another tag league match with Momo AZ defeating Devil Duo in 9 minutes and 13 seconds with the Azumi Sushi. What the fuck is going on here, Chris? I really, really enjoyed this match.
Well, I think what happened was the chain was stolen very, very early on.
Is that the greatest plan? I mean, Momo did say that they got a plan in the pre-match promo. Is that the greatest plan in the history of Stardom wrestling?
Yeah, it's like you're doing a duel back in the Old West, like the Lone Ranger's going out, and then some weed dude just comes along, yoink his gun and runs off.
But it was proper like Azumi and Momo had got hold of the chair that Saki started bringing to the ring and the chain, absolutely launched them to Saya and Utami, and then you just saw them sprinting backstage with them. Honestly, I was really hoping that someone was playing the Benny Hill theme as they were doing it. As B. Priestley and Konami are chasing them around the ring with it.
What would have made this even more perfect is if in the finish of the match, as the 3 count is written, they run through the ring.
But, Chris, without the tired tropes that Oedo Tai have started to fall back on, the chain, the chair, the DQs, without those tired tropes, we're actually reminded that Saki and Tora are actually very, very good in ring and can actually put on very, very, very good matches, can still be huge heels, as they proved in this match, but can do it without throwing matches away and doing the same thing over and over and over again. And do you know what? I will die on this hill by saying this is the best Oedo Tai tag match since Kagetsu and Hazuki retired.
I'm inclined to agree, actually, because, this is the first match, in a match with Azumi and Momo, I thought that Saki shined the most in this.
Saki was great. Yeah, she was.
She was great, and the little bits that that Tora did were also good. She's actually a fairly decent striker, and especially when she doesn't have the chains, she can be a good brutish heel, and then offset that with the high speed Azumi and Momo, and this is just a good pairing that I was initially dreading because I assumed the chain would be there.
Everything I enjoyed about this match. I enjoyed Tora's bullish and hard-hitting exchanges with Momo, and I really enjoyed Saki's quick-fire, high-speed exchanges with Azumi. It's a stark reminder of what Oedo Tai used to be in the ring. Badasses who don't take shit. And yeah, sure, they lost. But in this loss, they gained so much more respect from me than in every DQ or fucking balls-up finish that we got from before the 5-star all the way through to now.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, this isn't an innately special match. It just stands out because they tried.
But the chemistry in the match, the near falls, and just the entire in-ring psychology of all 4 women, I gave it 8, and I know you didn't. I know you will have gone lower than that, but I really enjoyed it. I think it's Oedo Tai's best match of the run, especially, like I say, since Kagetsu and Hazuki retired. It's Tora's best match in God knows how long. I'm talking pre-Cinderella. And Saki's always been good in ring, but she hasn't had a chance to show that because she's been forced to have a chain or a fucking chair. So it's good to give her a chance to show, actually, I'm a fucking good wrestler. And do you know what? I actually quite like heel Saki. But go on. Saki
stands out a lot more in a tag setting, but I think that Mayu match kind of proves, because there wasn't a ton of bollocks about one, that on her own she's kind of not there yet. Not saying she couldn't get that. How old is she? Hang on. She is 27. So she's still young. She's definitely not at her peak yet. So has time, but I think tag settings are definitely best for Saki, especially if they're going to continue to neutralize the chain. Because after this working perfectly, I don't know why people just wouldn't do it from now on.
Well, I mean, you look at kayfabe things, man. Why did the refs not just take the chain off and Datsukatora anyway?
Why wasn't she fired for several attempted murders?
What did you give this then, Chris?
I give it a 7. I did enjoy it. I did really enjoy it. It didn't quite have that massive ending sequence that I like in a tag match, but at the end of the day, we were only given 10 minutes, so we couldn't really have that. But this just ended up being a really solid tag match, which makes the rest of what happens around Oedo Tai really annoying.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Match 5 then, and the main event of night 3 saw the DDM team of Himika, Tsuyuri, and Natsupoi defeat the Stars team of Mayu Iwatani, Mina Shirakawa, and Tam Nakano at 15 minutes and 49 seconds with the Scorpion Deathlock. This, Chris, was another match that I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah, this is really good, especially with Natsupoi. I was I'm not quite sure about her when she came in, but from now on, I'm a Natsupoi fan.
I'm going to ignore the fact that you are using every opportunity to quote The Greatest Showman at me, and I'm gonna move on from it because I'm a bigger man. I'm
sorry, but it's just never enough with me.
Look, this is me. I'm the bigger man. Okay. I enjoyed the simple storyline of this match, and this is where I think Mina Shirakawa is going to shine, especially for the time being.
Getting beat up.
Yeah. Stupid as it sounds, Chris, yes. The whole point of this match, I mean, look at the pre-match promo. Mayu forgot she was in Stars. She ballsed up the bits she was supposed to be saying. All of this on purpose. She ballsed up the bits she was supposed to be saying. She did the wrong S for Stars. She's not a part of Stars. And she says, I want to prove myself, to prove that I am a part of Stars. So how do I do that? I go absolute balls to the wall and try and destroy DDM. And she gets her arse handed to her. She gets absolutely battered. And do you know what? I fucking love it, because this is where she's a great babyface in peril. We spoke about this in her last tag match. She is not a hot tag. She is the babyface in peril who just you get behind, because over the last two, especially this one, the crowd got behind her because she was getting her arse handed to her, especially by Himeka, who took a real dislike to Shirakawa, which goes over into the next match, into the next night, sorry. But because she won't lay down, she wants to prove herself to the Stars, especially to Mayu, who again forgot that she was in Stars, which I did giggle at. You start to get behind her. Yes, her offense still isn't there. Yes, the jury is still out of her on her. But the addition of this very, very simple storyline, from the fact that she couldn't quite keep up with Mayu and Tam to start off with in the tag team offense, but then come the end of the match, all three of them were doing stuff off the top rope. All three of them were doing the tandem drop kicks. She was slowly but surely becoming a member. So it was a nice, simple storyline. Do I think she's great in ring? No, I don't. And that is going to play into my review of her match with Himeka on night 4. But in this match, in this setting, surrounded by these people, I thought she did very, very well, and the addition of that storyline really, really helped her.
It's sort of a Mikey Whipwreck thing, isn't it? Because that's how he got over in ECW. Yeah, that does make sense. But to be honest, I think this is the best Mina has looked since coming to Stardom, and that's weird considering she had a singles match with Tam. Just when that hot tag finally came, I was both relieved for her and relieved I was seeing someone else wrestle. But because to be fair, the only person she can really do like her, because that weird guillotine things that she is, I don't think she could hit that on Shiri, and especially couldn't do it on Himeka.
No.
So for her current offense, Natsupoi is sort of the only person she could do it to, and you're currently trying to get her over. So yeah, this is really the only way you could have booked this match. It was really cathartic by the end when we were hitting crossbodies all over the place and big drop kicks. It's weird, because I'm not quite sure if they hit the drop kicks multiple times or if the feed replayed again.
Yeah, the match was only actually 6 minutes, Chris. It's just they showed it twice.
I literally do not know. But no, this actual match was really good. Shuri is starting to kick really hard and like that. Himeka is starting to really come into her presence that she was starting to develop in the 5-star, and is definitely coming out of it now, especially leading up to her title match with Julia, which is really good. That's point just keeps impressing with every match. She has such good timing. She is as close to an Azumi in this high speed division as you can get, so that match is going to be fucking fantastic. And May forgot that Mina Shirakawa was in Stars. I'm not even surprised with May, because she seems to forget a lot of things.
Yeah, you are sort of playing into Dopey Mayu, which seems to be the character they're going full tilt into.
She's essentially Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I'm with you. I think Natsupoi's great. Especially here, she worked a lot of time with Mina, and she did a lot of back offense, which Mina, for everything we say about Mina Shirakawa, she does sell very well. And obviously the back then played into the finish with Shiori adopting the Scorpion Deathlock, which I thought was a nice touch. Himika, you're absolutely right. She gets better and better and better with every match. The entire story of this match worked, away from the Mina Shirakawa and Stars aspect of it. Tam and Natsupoi was great. A really, really good exchange. I know that they've got history. Thank you, Velkesh, on our Discord. They've got history as well, so that sort of played into it. Obviously, Himika and Mayu have got history from the 5-star, with Mayu having beaten Himika. It was all of... And then, obviously, Mayu and Shiori from their absolutely outstanding match from Yokohama Cinderella. So there was lots of threads in this match, but obviously the main one was Mina. I really enjoyed this match. Really enjoyed this match. All 6 women got put over, which... is a prelude to the rant I'm going to have about the fucking time limit draw on night 4. But overall, a really, really, really enjoyable match. Absolutely agree with you, Chris. Definitely Mina's best match since she's come to Stardom. High 7, low 8 for me.
That's what I'm feeling as well. But like literally every rating here is kind of up for review because I didn't get to see these matches properly because something went wrong on the re-upload. And I was starting to think I was going crazy.
No, I had to keep rewinding, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I'm sure I've seen Saya Kamatani go to the top rope before. What is happening here? But yeah, no, that did happen. So sorry about that, Chris. You missed nothing, but even so, I thought night 3, Chris. I'll be honest. Of the 2 nights, for obvious reasons, I was looking forward to night 4 more. And actually, night 3 was really entertaining. Nothing blow away, but you got the 6-woman tag main event, which was really, really good. You'd got Momo AZ versus Oedo Tai, which, again, was deceptively good. And then you'd got the 3-way, Konami, Starlight Kid, and Saya Kamatani, which, again, was absolutely great. So... actually, night 3, considering it was a 5-star, effectively throwaway night, was a really, really good show.
Yeah, if you look at this in terms of a weekly TV show, this is what you'd sort of be looking for in sort of match quality. Basically, every match that had a story to tell advanced the story it had to tell. No one looks bad coming out of it. Everyone who needs to look good looks good. Yeah, this is a solid B show. Well, not even B show, this is like a solid D show.
Let's move on then, Chris, because we've got lots to talk about, to the Stardom Goddesses of Stardom Tag League 2020 Night 4 from the 18th of October, the following night, from Korakuen Hall in front of 586 people. We start with a 6-woman tag with the team of Gokigen Death, Hina and Rina defeating Hanan, Riho and Starlight Kid at 6 minutes and 37 seconds with the O'Connor roll. Colour Me Pop explodes, Chris!
Play like the porn jazz music from WrestleMania 5. Is it just me or is like Death more scary when she's tagging with children because it's like she's abducted them?
I never thought of that.
So she's just there with like 2 14-year-old twins, and I'm just sort of like I have like fucking. It gives me the fear. It gives me the absolute fear. Moving on. Tell you what though, Hanan over the last couple shows has gotten a lot better. Like she's not blown away by any means, but like she's extremely solid at everything she does, and she doesn't try to do more than like she actually can, which is something even some like several year veterans haven't learned. Fucking Sasha Banks, but yeah, this is just exceptional. This match was fine. It's probably the best death match so far, which just because like Starlight's there and Starlight sells death really well.
Yeah, I agree. Apart from that ill-fated triple team again where Death fell off. And then even when they got it right, Riho seemed to be struggling with the weight of Death. So, yeah. Aside from that, it was...
Aren't we all struggling with the weight of Death like every day?
Fucking hell, man. That went deep, didn't it? Jesus. Good God, mate. Yeah, it was a good match. It was fine. It was what it was. Focuses very much on Gokigen and Riho. Very entertaining exchange with them early on. yeah, it was there. It was nothing you need to go out of your way to watch. I'd give it a high 4 stars because, again, there's nothing blow away here. Even if you've got Starlight Kid in this match, she can only do so much, and she wasn't in the match for a long period of time anyway. So yeah, I'm quite surprised that Gokigen got the pin again, because got to keep Death strong. But yeah, other than that, it was fine, Chris.
Yeah, I'd give it a 5 because I basically no strong feelings other than like the intense fear I feel every time I see Death.
Match 2 then was a singles match. Tam Nakano defeating Saya Iida at 10 minutes and 21 seconds with the German suplex. Chris, I want whatever cocaine Tam is on during these promos recently.
She's very hyper, isn't she?
Recently, mate? What the fuck is she talking about?
Yeah, it's like she's drank so much coffee that she can like hear colours and see sounds.
Yeah, very much so. And she got to a point where she'd done her intro and then sort of stared into the camera and just sort of went, bollocks. I need to say words. And then she said some words and then gorilla thing and walked off. I was like, the fuck have I just watched? What the fuck have I just watched? Outside of this, these two really didn't mesh well at all, did they?
No, they don't really. Well, their styles wouldn't really mesh, because if Tam's doing a high kick, she's just going to miss Saya's head.
Well, it wasn't even that. There was so many botches and timing errors. Like, there was a striking exchange, for example, where the striking, and obviously there's a point where Saya thinks that the Matrix reversal is coming. So she deliberately aims high for a punch. And Tam just doesn't move. So it just looks like she's whiffed this punch completely. So then they get into the Matrix reversal. Then there was a sit-out spinebuster, which Saya's started to use. And I don't know whether Tam didn't know it was coming, or whether Saya didn't tell her it was coming, but Tam didn't fucking jump when she got into Saya, so Saya effectively just sort of fell onto Tam, so because there was absolutely no elevation whatsoever in it, coupled with whiffed punches and whiffed kicks, and just it wasn't a match that you would expect when you consider Tam is in it, and Saya Iida, who has improved massively throughout this year, is also in this match. It's not a good look for either woman, I don't think, Chris.
No, but like everyone misses, and like to be honest, missing them second up on a Korakuen show isn't like the end of the world for either person. Like I honestly think we were just having an off night. It happens. Oh
God, yeah, no, this isn't me. This isn't a damning description of how both women are on the downturn of their career. God,
this isn't terminal. Like this is still better than anything Okada did in the G1. But
yeah, it is just an off night. It was quite an ugly match for me watching anyway. Maybe it was different for other people, but those botches really stood out to me. I didn't really enjoy this match. I gave it 3, which goes to show just how little I actually enjoyed this match.
I gave it 4. I thought it was just on the lower end of average for me.
Match 3 then was the continuation of the Shirakawa storyline, with Himeka defeating Mina Shirakawa at 7 minutes and 58 seconds with the JP coaster. Chris, opinion on this match then?
I liked Himeka's opening promo, first of all.
She has no time for Mina whatsoever, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah, she's just all like, no, I'm the rookie.
How long has she even been wrestling? How much ring experience does she actually have? Was the statement.
What, Himeka or Mina?
That was what Himeka said about Mina in this opening promo.
Yeah. How much? Well, she only has like 2 years. I don't know how long Himeka has. I think she started in like 2017. Hang on.
I think they've both got 2 years.
Yeah. No, Himeka has 3.
Oh, okay. Fair enough then. Fair enough. This was fine. I mean, it was a continuation of the 6-woman tag from the night before. just basically wanting to prove that she deserves to be in Stars, taking on these huge challenges to prove that. She does well from underneath. Himika's eye rolls as though this is a complete waste of her time. Really entertained me throughout this match. I'm still not sold on Mina's offense. I mean, when she's getting the snot beaten out of her, brilliant. Really, really, really enjoy that. But when she is on the offensive, I'm not sold on it. I find it really bland. The spinning back fist that she does is the fucking shits. And then...
Yeah, she whiffs it, doesn't she?
She whips it, and it's... I know that wrestling is wrestling. I'm fully aware of that. But it's quite obvious that the sound is her slapping her leg. It doesn't... It's no Aja Kong. Let's say that.
No, it's no like Kenta Kobashi. It's no Eddie Kingston. Hell, it's barely even a Pat McAfee. So.
I think this suffered a little bit for me from no one believing Mina's going to win this match. Even after the comeback, even after, she'd taken all this heat at the hands of Himika, even after, like I said, she got the absolute snot beaten out of her for the majority of this 8-minute match. Nobody believed that she was going to get the victory here. And that's fine. That's where she is on the card. I have no issue with that. But her offense is okay. It's just something... Like her somersault senton. I quite like that. That's decent. But just those little things like that diving... Is it supposed to be a crossbody? Because I'm sorry, there's no way when she does that dive and she sort of pushes someone in the chest. There's no way that takes Himika down. There's no way that takes a Syuri down. And it looks crap.
It's a bit up and down whether or not I would take an Azumi down.
Exactly. It's just there's little bits of it that just don't do it for me at all. There are bits that do, like say the somersault senton, absolutely fine. The implant DDT, fine. There's just little bits that don't do it for me. And I'm sure there's people out there who are diehard Shirakawa fans and are going to crucify me in the comments. That's absolutely fine. You're entitled to your opinion. But I don't see it at the moment. I enjoy the storyline that's going through all of the matches at the moment about how she wants to belong to Stars, and I will stand by the fact that she is a great babyface being beaten the shit out of. I'm just not sold on her offense.
I think that's the issue. She has half of it down. She's very good at being beaten down, but she can't come back. She needs to make that hot tag.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's fine. But she's going to struggle in singles competition when she's taking on someone like a Hanan. Fine, okay, as proved by Yokohama Cinderella. Fine. However, when you are in a singles competition with someone like Himika, who is considerably bigger, is considerably higher up the card, you've got to do something that makes the audience think, fucking hell, they're going to win. Otherwise, you can be the biggest babyface in the world. You're not going to get the reactions that you need.
Yeah, to be fair, she has about as much experience as the rookies. I think it's just because she's sort of been not put high up the card, but she's not been opening shows. She's sort of been like in the middle a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I know she's going to get better.
Yeah, that's mostly down to Tag League, and she will get, like, we've seen how fast people get better in Stardom. Like, we had, like, issues with Himika, and then, like, they were resolved by the end of a 5-star. We had, how many issues did we have with Starlight at the beginning of the year, and now we're looking forward to every Starlight match. So I'm going to give her time, especially since she's a rookie. But, like, it's our job to sort of critique what's wrong with the matches, and, like, just her offense is what's wrong with the matches, but it's sort of a big thing to patch up.
I am not saying that Mina is bad. That is not my point. As I loved the 6-woman tag from Night 3. I hope I got that across in my review. I am not saying that Mina is a bad wrestler. I'm just saying that now she's got the selling part down. She now needs to develop an offense that is going to make me believe that she's going to cause these upsets. That she is going to take down a Himika. Okay, and we are going to believe that there is a chance that she could take down a Himika. It's just the next stage for me to believe in her as a babyface. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I completely get it. I completely understand.
Yeah. Okay. Right, Chris, I'm going to moan about this match, and I'm going to moan about it quickly so that you can then get your review in it. How's that sound?
Okay. Go
Match
ahead.
4. The Oedo Tai team of B. Priestley, Konami, Natsuko Tora, and Saki Kashima versus Donna Del Mondo team of Syuri, Julia, Maika, and Natsupoi ended in a 20-minute time limit draw. Now, why? Why did this end in a draw? You just had Oedo Tai lose on the previous show. If they are going to challenge for the Artist of Stardom Championship, pin fucking Natsupoi, pin Maika. It doesn't matter. Are you telling me that all 8 women in this match needed to be kept strong? For fuck's sake, Saki is on that team. It's lazy booking. Plus, if this whole thing was to set up another Artist of Stardom Championship showdown, haven't we just seen this match? Haven't we just had Oedo Tai challenge Donna Del Mondo for those 6-woman belts? And then on top of all this, we had a chair shot, which I'm not going to lie, I quite liked. Absolutely decimated a chair when the ref's back was turned. That's fine. But the ref turned around less than half a second after the chair was on the floor and then moved the chair. Why? Obviously that has been used. Syuri's on the floor. A chair is in 4 pieces next to her. This isn't fucking Cluedo. You can work out what has happened. So much of this match, the booking of it, not the 8 women in the ring. I actually really quite enjoyed this match, aside from the completely nonsensical time limit draw we had in it. I mean, I'm not being funny. Ultimately, Maika is a rookie. Are you telling me that it's going to be detrimental to her development if she takes the pinfall here? Are you telling me that all 8 women in this match need to be kept strong? It made no sense. And all to set up another Artist of Stardom Championship match between these 2 teams, which again, we've already seen quite recently. Even if it's another iteration of Oedo Tai, I don't care. I don't want to see it again. You had a chance to really develop something with challenges for the white belt, for the future of Stardom Championship, all these things. It was so frustrating for all of their reasons, but that ref thing really, really irritated me. And I know from a kayfabe standpoint, he couldn't see what happened. But from a realistic standpoint, the chair's in 4 fucking pieces next to a KO'd Syuri. What the fuck does he think has happened? He moved the chair. What is he doing? Honestly, Chris, I think it irritated me more because this was a genuinely, really entertaining, good match. And aside from that chair shot, which I don't actually mind, Oedo Tai are heels, I don't mind the odd shot, as long as it's not in every fucking match, it's not how every match ends. It was a good chair shot. I really enjoyed the chemistry between Konami and Syuri. I'm still a little bit concerned over Syuri's comments in the pre-match promo that she was getting love calls from Konami. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but okay. But they clearly have this begrudging respect for each other. They were kicking the shit out of each other. That closing stretch with Syuri and B. Priestley was fantastic. Syuri was the MVP of this match. She basically did the entire match. I don't understand so much of this match. And it is so fucking frustrating.
This is totally not the first time I'm saying this. To be fair, I'm repeating myself a lot nowadays because we're continuously time limit draws, and I am sick of it. Like, to the point where any good points of this match just melted away from me as soon as the time limit draw happened. I cannot physically remember the last time we had a podcast where we didn't have a time limit draw. And I can't remember the last time time limit draw felt needed was maybe the 5-star. So I don't know what the fuck they're playing at. I don't know why they think this is going to work. Like, these fuck finishes a product of the 80s that went away ages ago and shouldn't be here now. It's not going to hurt anyone to take a pin in this match.
That's my issue. The whole point of an 8-woman tag is that you've got someone who can eat a pin. And as I've just said, is it going to hurt Maika's development to take a pinfall here? No, of course it's not. She's still a rookie. She's the future of Stardom champion. Have her take the pin. I understand that you can't have Natsupoi take the pin because you're trying to build her at the moment. I agree with you to a certain extent that it does take away from the positives of the match, but there were so many positives in this match. That moment that Maika counters a spear from Tora into a deadlift stalling vertical suplex. Absolutely fucking beautiful. The entire exchange between Syuri and Konami, and then Syuri and Bea Priestley. Bea, by the way, who is getting better every time I see her in ring.
Yeah, but there was a lot good to talk. Honestly, if this had a finish, this was going on to be a fairly highly scored match. And I know the booking isn't really the women's fault, but the booking is still such an issue, and it continues to make no sense. And I don't want to rant about it every week, but it's happening every week. Literally, can you remember the last podcast where we didn't have a draw on it? And I understand we've just been through the 5-star, but there was 2 or 3 before the 5-star as well.
The last time I thought it made sense, obviously you're absolutely right with the 5-star. We had the Queen's Quest tag match where we had Momo and Azumi versus Utami and Saya from Stardom is again. That made sense.
Yeah, especially since one of them were actually getting a finish in Tag League, and also you were trying to establish Utami and Saya, but you also genuinely could not have Momo versus Azumi, but the story sort of demanded they prove themselves to Momo and Azumi, and the time limit draw managed that, and it was great. And then here we are now, where Jungle versus Himika was marred by a pointless draw. Bish was marred by a pointless draw. The DDM versus Queen's Quest match from Nagoya was marred by a pointless draw. And the weirdly placed, you should not be having half an hour draws in the middle of a card.
The one in Nagoya it sapped the crowd in preparation for what was an absolutely great match between Mayu and Jungle. A match that quite a few fans have forgotten about.
Yeah.
It was such a good match, but why it followed... Because, am I right in thinking that was a 30-minute time limit draw? Or was that 20? That was 20. It was 30, wasn't it?
It was 30, yeah.
Which it made no sense. I don't understand. And that's the thing. It seems like really lazy booking. I mean, you look at companies like New Japan, okay, who... I know that you've fallen out of love with them, that's absolutely fine, but they don't over-rely on a draw to the point where if a draw is coming, it's used as a real, oh my god, these never happen, these two must be really, really similar. But you're absolutely right, we have seen so many in the space of 6 podcasts? 7 podcasts?
You can make fairly regular draws. Okay, so I'm thinking of Noah, who have had a fair few draws this year, but they were more spread out with 2 exceptions, and that being the N1, because that's their tournament, which is the one place where I'll happily take frequent draws. And then in the double title match, because it got both men supremely over and helped establish their reign. So beyond that, there was one more. So which did, to be fair, feel a bit pointless, but was really well done. And then, in All Japan, I think we've only had one, and that worked really well as well. So, if we're just comparing it to, the other big Japanese companies, they're over-relying on it just compared to them, let alone compared to, what we were with New Japan before, where we did expect everything to have a finish. And, I agree not everything should have a finish, but, Oedo Tai's of a ring, it can be a dirty finish.
Long story short, this was a good match with some great matchups going forward that ended in the most bland and boring way to set up a match we've already seen.
Basically, yeah.
Which is a real, though, I was going to say that's a real shame, but Bea Priestley running off from Syuri at the end is fucking hilarious. So, yeah. And Julia's post-match promo was also very, very entertaining. Just going, does do you actually know any other Japanese apart from You Suck? Which, again, very entertaining.
That's the thing. B is a proper fucking weeb because she'll introduce like random Japanese phrases into an English sentence.
It is quite funny.
Like, I remember, it was during her reign, she was fighting, I think it must have been once in her Hana match, she just shouted top Ichiban fucking Gaijin.
I know that it's difficult to find the positives in it, but I did try, and I've given it a 7, because all the women in ring, there was some real positives to take. As I've already mentioned, Konami Sayuri, B Sayuri, that fucking spear into a vertical suplex from Maika, beautiful. So I've given it 7. I don't understand what we're hoping to achieve, because with every draw, it's diluting it and diluting it and diluting it to the point where when a draw does happen, we don't care. We're irritated by it. It's not seen to progress a storyline.
I thought about my rating for this for a while because, again, there are positives. But I came away just feeling numb. Came away feeling nothing. So, like, that's a 5. That's like the definition of a 5 for me. I just feel nothing about this match, despite, like, the good and bad aspects.
I don't know whether it's because it's a Korakuen show, and historically Korakuen shows have always been Stardom's biggest shows of the year, and they just need to feel like they need to put on these big, long, epic matches. But let's not forget, there are 2 other matches, including a red belt defense, to come after this 20-minute draw. So... yeah,
but also there's... You could have just done one more tag league match, and then that would have filled the epic quota. And also, don't forget, like, how many of the match of the year candidates are like around the 10-minute mark? Like Mayu Tam, May Julia, what's the other one I'm thinking? Tam Kagetsu. There's plenty of match of the year candidates in Stardom that go a short amount of time. An epic isn't defined by length. It's not how that works.
I agree wholeheartedly with you, because there is one tag league match on this show, and was there 2 on the previous show? So you can't tell me that there isn't enough time to fit another tag league match. Cut this in half. This needs to be, 11 minutes max? You can still have the angle set up by having, I don't know, have Konami tap out Maika. Have Konami pin Maika. What does it matter? Anyway, let's move on, because otherwise we're going to spend this entire podcast ranting about this, and there's some good things to talk about later on. Match 5, our one and only tag league match on the actual show, was Momo AZ defeating Aphrodite at 15 minutes and 31 seconds with the Peach Sunrise. Highly anticipated rematch from Stardom is again, Chris. What did you think? Did it live up to the hype?
I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it about as much as the other one, because the other one caught me but there's a difference there, because the other one sort of caught me by surprise with how good it was, whereas this one I was going in fully expecting something good. So different expectations to be lived up to, but I did really enjoy this. I did enjoy that it was basically the other one, but with a finish, and with Azumi and Momo sort of somewhere in the back of their heads having to go, well, we need to prove that we are like the dominant members of Stars here. It's just all really solid stuff. But the problem is, this, with the exception of the finish, is almost indistinguishable from their Stardom is Again match. They're very similar spots. Azumi flew around. Itami was power. Just almost indistinguishable, but still really good.
See, I disagree with it was indistinguishable. It was very similar, and I think obviously you're going to have a very similar match. It's the 4 same competitors, but I think you had got that story running through. If you remember, when we talked about it at Stardom is Again, the whole thing was Momo basically telling Saya that she had to step up to this level. Okay, you're in my faction, you step up to my level. And, hitting her with strikes a little bit harder than perhaps she needed to show that sort of tough love. And I thought here, Saya put up that much of a fight that Momo had to break out the Peach Sunrise to put her away, a move that we talked last week about how she doesn't use all that often. And I always enjoy the interbrand tags for, the whole we can reverse all of your moves because we've seen you use them so many times and that sort of thing. So they have to break out completely different things, or things that they don't use that often. You saw Sai Kamatani breaking out a Kiwi Crusher. You had Magic Killer from Aphrodite, which I think they have used before, but not all that often. You've got the double team foot stomp from Momo AZ. You even had a 3D from Momo AZ, which again I know they've used, but not altogether too often, and definitely not in the Stardom is Again match, even though Azumi got absolutely none of it, but we'll go past that. I think it's interesting that the tag champs are still without a win in Tag League and sit, well, the second in their block, but that's only because everyone else is on fucking 0 points. Even so, I did enjoy the match. I'm not sure I enjoyed it as much as the match at Stardom is Again, which again, like you, took me completely by surprise. But I thought this had a very simple story, something that ran through. It was very much Saya and Momo. And ultimately, Momo had to bring out the big guns to just make sure that everyone remembered, yeah, I am the big bitch in this Queen's Quest lineup. And, even though you stepped it up, I can still beat you. I thought that was really good. And then, of course, we had that fucking air raid crash on the apron. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ.
I almost forgot about that because instead of writing down what happened in my notes, I just put fuck.
We were centimetres away from disaster there.
Yeah, that was proper Kota Ibushi and Naito at Dominion bullshit.
Yeah, it was scary.
Yeah, but at the same time, ouch.
Jesus Christ.
There's part of me that's like, oh my god, but part of me is going, yes, more. But yeah, this is within the context of right now, like where a lot of Stardom matches, just because of the amount of fucking draws, are starting to get a tad bloated sometimes. This was the perfect length that it, had to be. So that put this match over the top. I'm giving this one an 8. I did really enjoy this one.
I think I gave it a high 7, so I'm willing to concede 8. I don't think, like I said before, it's as good as the Stardom is Again match, but again, that's on the ballot for a match of the year. I don't think this quite reaches that. I thought Aphrodite especially, there was instances where they seemed to be getting in each other's way, which we didn't have in the Stardom is Again match. It might be a little nitpick. This was still a really, really good match and one of the better matches of the Tag League, but for me, that Stardom is Again match was better than this one. So, let's move on to the match that absolutely everybody who watches Stardom and listens to this podcast wants us to talk about. It is match 6, the main event, World of Stardom Championship, with Mayu Iwatani defeating Takumi Iroha with the reverse roll-up at 22 minutes and 22 seconds. Sorry, I'd written 22 and then 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. I don't know what I've done there. So 22 minutes and 22 seconds. So, just before we start with this match, Chris, I'm just going to give a little bit of preamble and then we can talk about the first match because I know you've been wanting me to watch that first match for fucking ages. So, I don't think I've ever seen a Mayu match where she hasn't given a pre-match promo. From this night at Korakuen, let's make that abundantly clear. I have never seen a Mayu match where she hasn't given a promo. Last time out, in this first match in February, she was that nonchalant, maybe even naive at the last minute change, because don't forget it was supposed to be Sari originally, not Iroha, that she didn't even realise it wasn't for the title to begin with. That's how naively she went into that first match. She shot out of the blocks with complete reckless abandon and was systematically pulled apart by Iroha's savage kicks, brutalising of the shoulder alongside a high-angled German suplex that made my toes curl, followed by some of the heaviest fucking power bombs I've ever seen. Iroha absolutely flattened Mayu in that first match. And in this match, the second match for the championship, something needed to change. And you could tell Mayu's sort of outlook on it had changed completely by the fact, just that simple thing, she didn't do a pre-match promo. None of the nonsense, none of the, as we were saying before, dopey Mayu. She wasn't forgetting a mask or she wasn't forgetting her tail or whatever the excuse was she used for a loss to Julia in the 5-star. this was something completely different, and you could see it straight away. As I've just said, Chris, that first match was glorious, absolutely brilliant, just hard-hitting. I loved how, as I said before, Iroha just completely took apart Mayu. Just every time Mayu tried to mount any sort of comeback, she wasn't strong enough, she wasn't developed enough to combat these kicks that just sounded like gunshots, those power bombs where genuinely you were scared for Mayu's neck, you were scared for Mayu's back. Just absolute savagery. And then the running three that she finished the match with, Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, it was an explosion, an absolute explosion. And had there been more stakes in that match, and it hadn't just been a last minute change, then that would have been one of my all-time favourite matches. But to think that they put that match together and it was a last-minute change with Sari pulling out, what a fucking match. What a great match. And puts a lot of pressure on them to follow it up on this second night, Chris.
In terms of storytelling in that match, what that first match reminded me of, and I've been thinking about this, I think about this match a bit. I've rewatched it more than any other match this year, and that's mostly because it's sometimes hard to find the fucking 50 minutes it takes to rewatch some matches nowadays. But it reminded me of Kobashi versus Joe at Ring of Honor, because they packed a lot of story in there with very little build-up. Like with Kobashi versus Joe, they managed to do things like Joe doing Kawada moves to piss off Kobashi and things like that. Whereas you jump to here, Mayu's trying to do like the running free to Iroha just basically just to be a dick, because that's what Mayu's like.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's an arrogance that she had in that first match.
And then that quickly got it was just sort of like when Killmonger walks into Wakanda, it's like, is this your champion?
Yeah, absolutely. And it set up this match now that we're going to talk about now. A wry smile is all we get as Mayu goes out towards the ring. You can immediately tell that she has changed how she's going about this match. And you know what? She's been wearing the red gear for pretty much every championship defense since she won the belt. That's fine. But for me, she chose that gear. This was the gear I lost when Iroha absolutely fucking destroyed me. So I'm going to wear it again. Some redemption here. Even if that wasn't the case and it was just a case of, I'll wear my red gear today. That's how I saw it. I was the champ then, I'm the champ now. I was wearing red gear then, I'm wearing red gear now. I need some redemption because last time out, I was embarrassed by Iroha completely fucking taking me apart.
Yeah, possibly. I'm trying to think if like Mayu's like something like a Stanley Kubrick where she'll have meaning in everything, or she'll just be like a Sam Raimi who just throws shit in the background for no reason.
Yeah, potentially.
Like just putting on the gear and going, some mark is going to mark out over this.
I am that mark. She's got that bottled energy and it spills over. She goes in naively again. And again, she's on the back foot again. But instead of targeting the shoulder, because in the first match she had all the shoulder tape on, Iroha targets her leg, absolutely butchering it with Mayu selling it as only Mayu can. However, throughout this match, now, if you remember during the last match, Mayu really struggled to get Takumi up into like a razor's edge. Could not get her up, and that was ultimately what led to the finish. Here, she tries it again, can't quite get her up, but towards the end, she does get her up, building on that character development, that storytelling. I wasn't strong enough last time. I am strong enough this time. I've put in the work. I am a better wrestler. I'm a stronger wrestler than I was last time. I'm a different wrestler than the one you took apart in February. She is still goaded into things by Iroha, her naivety about being that sit-down slap exchange. Why the fuck would you take on a sit-down slap exchange with Iroha, who has completely taken you apart with kicks and strikes before, but that's her stubbornness. No, you want this? I am going to fucking take you on with this. She kicks out of a running 3, which she didn't do before. We see a little glimpse of Murder Mayu, which, holy shit, that's so cool. I want to see more Murder Mayu, where she completely no-sells the strikes that floored her in the previous match. She no-sells and gets fucking aggressive. I love that. I want to see more of that. And it was that whole, no, we are not going the same way as the previous match. I am going to hulk up, and I am going to take you on. And I love that. Just a little story beat. A slap that took her down, a forearm that put her on her arse. Now, she's absorbing that. She's built up. She's stronger. And again, it all sort of builds into this character development.
Yeah, it definitely does. Sorry, from the last one. In terms of... It was just bloody good, wasn't it? I do still prefer the first one. I think that's because, much like the tag match from before, that last one caught me completely by surprise. I had no clue who Iroha was. I looked to think, saw the sides of it, and, there's still a little part of my smarky brain where it's like, well, big people can't work. And then, she started working. It's like, oh, I see. Also, I think I prefer Mayu coming from behind. So, but the shock of Mayu not really having a comeback in the last one was sort of great. It's sort of like when Vader destroyed Antonio Inoki, except no pillows were thrown. But in this one, it was still good. I've never seen someone duck a spinning heel kick before.
No, there was quite a few reversals. I was like, fucking hell, where's that come from?
Yeah, I do like the foolish pride displayed by Mayu. I like that in wrestling where someone's Ibushi does it a lot, where I'm gonna play your game even if it is to the detriment of myself. Just some of the kicks from like you said, they're gunshots and they're just as good here. I like how clearly when Mayu takes advantages of little holes, you can see that's what she's doing as soon as she moves. It's a very Tanahashi thing where you can see what she's thinking as the match is going on. And, that's very hard to convey. Some people can't do that. Some people sort of just have the same expression throughout the whole match. It's weird because it's, the perfect dynamic, these two. Just for, clarification, much like the jungle match, I watched this one out of order. I watched this as soon as I saw it on Stardom World because I could not... I genuinely thought going into this, Iroha had a chance because they're doing a lot with Marvelous right now. But I love it, and I'm rambling because both these matches are great. This is probably my if there was one more match in this year's series, I'd call it my series of the year, but it's not. But there isn't. But then again, I also think the same Suzuki versus Nagata. I'm rambling now. I really like this.
I like this more than the first one. The first one was great. First one was absolutely great. This one had everything that I loved about the first match, with the extra of character development, story development, redemption, and the belt on the line. All of those things together with a match that they could have just come out and done the same match as they did back in February. And no one would have batted an eyelid. Everyone would have just been like, fucking hell, it was a good match then, it'll be a good match now. However, there were so many subtle things, so many callbacks to that first match, so many little subtle changes to things from that first match that I couldn't not love it. Just that realisation about 3/4 of the way through the match that Mayu could not outstrike, could not outpower Takumi Iroha. She just couldn't. So she had to rely on opportunistic guile, effectively. Look at the finish. The finish looked sloppy as fuck. It really did. And that could be put down to the fact that Iroha dropped Mayu so dangerously high on her neck that I thought, fuck, she's actually injured. It could be because they had to stop the match because Takumi had facial fractures from some of the strikes. But in the moment where you don't know these things, in the moment it played into the match so well because Mayu had to have an opportunistic way of beating Iroha because she couldn't do it through strikes, she couldn't do it through power moves. You aren't going to be able to slam Iroha repeatedly to a point where you're going to be able to keep her down. So you're not going to be able to outstrike her, as proved by the slap exchange. The stubbornness, even with the stubbornness of Mayu, you realise you can't do that. So the sloppiness, the sloppy little roll-up actually worked for me. It actually worked into the story, this exhausted sort of last-ditch attempt at defending her title. The fact that she wasn't going to let it go. I loved it. I really did. Obviously, I hope Takumi Iroha's all right. Fucking hell. But, and Jesus Christ, Mayu's neck. Oh, Jesus, there are so many parallels. You're absolutely right. There are so many parallels between Mayu and Ibushi. It's unreal. But yeah, I can't not like this match more. As I said, and as I'll end now, it was everything I loved about the first match, but developed with a storyline, with character development in it. I can't not love it. I mean, I assume you gave it 10.
That's what I'm floating around. I always take time to think of my 10 ones because it's like, do I actually feel like that? I need to go back and rewatch it because I am feeling at the very least a high 9, but like probably going to end up landing on a 10. But like in terms of explaining why I like the other match more, and why I think it didn't have the same impact on you as it did on me, is I watched it going in blind, like I knew nothing. Whereas, like, you've had 8 months of me talking about how it's the best match of the year.
Building it up.
Yeah, and then also, like, because of that, you sort of, like, knew the story beats, you knew what was going to happen. You're not getting shocked by, like, this like, the ace of a company being completely destroyed by an outsider. Although, tell you what, though, that post-match promo was hilarious, where Mayu can't even get up. She's just lying down going, next time we're in the same ring, can we please be on the same team?
Can we tag?
Yeah.
I will just say, final thing, the callbacks to previous match, there was one note I forgot to mention. The superplex, which Iroha pretty much just threw Mayu across the fucking ring. But here, she took the superplex and then transitioned it seamlessly into this guillotine choke. And it was just, another callback to the first match, another callback to that research being done, that development from Mayu. Okay, this is what he did last time. If you do this again, this is what I'm going to do. I really, really enjoyed that. Each their own. That's the beauty of wrestling. It's subjective.
No, I think at this point, we're just going, my perfect match is better. No, my perfect match is better.
Do you know what, though? I'm not going to descend into an argument because they're both fucking outstanding matches. And to have two of these matches, the Syuri match, the Jungle match, which I think everyone has forgotten, those are 4 fucking outstanding matches from Mayu, and 3 of them were great title defenses. I mean, the woman just keeps pumping out match of the year after match of the year after match of the year.
You forgot the Momo match from 9th anniversary.
Exactly! The Momo match! Which was that long ago now that, again, people seem to forget it, as proved.
She has probably, for me, like personally, and it's probably mostly because Stardom's my main modern wrestling right now. She's of the big ace figures in Japan. She probably has my favorite track record. Like, because Miyahara's starting to get on my tits. Okada. I was insulting him. Okada got on my tits ages ago. Go's been I've been keep getting told about how like Goji Ozaki's been having a great run, but I think he's mostly having a great run for people who are like neck deep in Noah law, like his Saito match, and where that would just seem like 2 old men hitting each other, or a Vegeta match, which is like this weird art piece which you're either going to be in love with or think, why the fuck are they staring at me for half an hour? And why the fuck, when Rob knew I was watching this for half an hour, he just went, right as we're about to lock up, yeah, mate, we just stare at each other for half an hour.
So, aside from the fact that Iroha's got facial fractures, Mayu's got just how she can walk after taking that fucking running 3 is unreal. So they agree to team up next time, which I'm not going to lie, if that is some manner of assemble show match, I am all for that. I know that Starlight Kid haven't got the actual match to hand, but Stardom are on the next Assemble card with Starlight. I know Azumi's in it. I can't remember who else off the top of my head is in that match, but it's Stars versus Queen's Quest. And then Utami comes in, demands her shot for November the 15th at Sendai Sun Plaza at Sendai Cinderella. She says the value of the belt has been raised in this match, and she's calling her shot for Sendai Cinderella. Mayu asks if that's actually the rule, which, yes, Mayu, it is. That's how it works. If you win the 5-star, you get a title shot. It's always been the case. And yeah, we fade to black. So I've got a couple of things to ask you, Chris. I've seen from, again, I can't acknowledge you because I don't know who it was. On Twitter, there's been quite a few people who have been saying about how Korakuens are becoming less and less and less important in the wake of the bigger shows. You know, Yokohama Cinderella, you've got the Sendai Cinderella show on the 15th of November, you've got the Osaka show on the 20th of December, and I think you've got another one in early December as well, I think on the 6th. So, do you think that Korakuens are slowly but surely not falling out of favour, but do you think they are less important than they once were? Do you think that they are becoming, as people seem to think, B and C shows as opposed to the main shows that everyone waits for? I mean, does this show fall into that category? How would you rate this show?
My thinking is, part of it is just because Korakuen just isn't the biggest building we can run right now, because, you know, socially distanced audiences, that should definitely be the case. But, like, yeah, they're sort of more... They seem to have replaced Shinkiba, but also they're still throwing title matches on there, and I think when you look at, like, the actual cards of, like, each Korakuen show, most of them, with the exception of the last one going into Yokohama, have been sort of as stacked. Just some of them haven't delivered as much because, we have to remember, post-lockdown, we have been, most of this time has been spent just rebuilding the roster because we've had some heavy hits over the lockdown. So I think part of it is literally just they're rebuilding the roster, and because you look at, like, this show, it's about as stacked as the one last year, the Tag League match one last year was, and I think this is a better show than the Tag League Korakuen last year, just because this type of match. So I don't think we're as bad as people say. I just think we've just not been as good as we were at the beginning of the year because we were operating on such another level at the start of the year, and, like, we've had to rebuild the roster. I think that's literally just it. Okay,
the next Korakuen show is October 29th, which, as we record, is in 4 days' time. So I think it's the Thursday. Yeah, it's the Thursday. So let me read to you the lineup for that Korakuen show, and you can tell me then if you think the same. So we open with a 5-way battle between Gokigen Death, Saki Kashima, Rina, Hina, and Ruaka, returning to in-ring competition, which should be nice. Tag League match then, Wingori, which is Saya Ida and Hanan, taking on Dream H, Tam Nakano and Mina Shirakawa. We've then got a 6-person tag, Utami and Momo and Riho, taking on Oedo Tai, B. Priestley, Konami, and Natsuka Tora. We've then got the Future of Stardom Championship match between the champion Maika and the challenger Saya Kamatani. Semi-main, you've got a tag team match, Shiori and Natsupoi taking on Mayu and Starlight Kid. And then finally, the main event is the Wonder of Stardom title match between champion Julia and the challenger Himika. I guess what I'm asking, Chris, is this a sexy card? Is there anything that jumps out at you? Or can you see why people are basically saying less emphasis is being put on Korakuen shows?
No, I can definitely see where people are coming from in that respect, because they kind of are, because Korakuen shows were like where you can draw in thousands of people, but you can't anymore. So because they have another big show coming, don't they?
Exactly. The 15th of November is the next one. So they are running more bigger shows in bigger venues than they were this time last year.
Yeah, because Korakuen was the big show last year, but again, to get as many as people as into as you would at a Korakuen show into a building, you do need to go to these bigger arenas. So
absolutely,
I think that's literally just it. Korakuen shows are still Korakuen shows. It's just now Korakuen shows are in different places.
Yeah, and like we've said, last year we didn't have the two, what were originally two, now one, the Yokohama Cinderella shows. We didn't have the Sendai Cinderella show. We didn't have the big Osaka show on the 20th of December. So, those shows which are going to have big cards, they need big matches. And those big matches would have been on Korakuen shows last time. I don't think any less importance has been placed on Korakuen shows. I think it's a case of you want your bigger matches at the bigger drawing venues, and you're absolutely right, Chris. They used to be Korakuens where you could draw 1,500 people. However, now you're looking at this Sendai Cinderella show, which is in the Sendai Sun Plaza, which draws a little less than the Yokohama Cinderella show. So just under 3,000 people. That's a big get for Stardom. Even with a socially distanced crowd, you'll probably get just under 1,000. That's still a lot of people in this time. So, yes, I can sort of see where they're coming from, because I'll be honest, of the matches that I've, read out, there's probably the main event. I mean, Julie versus Himeka. It could be great, could be a dud.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not looking forward to that one just because I'm one of the few people who didn't really enjoy their 5-star match.
Yeah, I did enjoy their 5-star match, and we talked about it on the podcast. I think I enjoyed it a little bit more than you did. But if we get that match, plus the added stakes of a championship, plus, we talked about how Himeka has really progressed. Even in the 5-star, if you look at the Himeka that was taking on Utami in the final to the Himeka that was taking on whoever she took on in the first round, there was a big progression throughout that. We've talked about how Julia has progressed so much in the last couple of months. I mean, you've turned the corner and you fucking hated her to start off with.
Yeah, now it went from hating her to apathy, and now I actively enjoy her. Mostly because she's in the ring with Death, and she's just there going, what the fuck is this?
Exactly. She's developed. I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if it's a... Do you know what? No. I think it's going to be a great match. I'm gonna hang my hat on it. I'm going to say that is going to be a very, very good match. I think Mayu and Starlight versus Syuri and Natsupoi, I think that is going to be great. I think that's going to be a really, really tasty match. Micah versus Saya. Sure. I think it could be great. I'm not entirely sure though.
Yeah. It has the potential, but again, I'm not putting too much on it because they are rookies. So.
Yeah, and it is the future of Stardom Championship, which nobody really gives a shit about. I think that's the thing. There's no tag title on this show. There's no
SWA.
There's no SWA, which is bizarre, especially as B is in a throwaway tag match. I think that's the thing. You could have had a few more title matches on this Korakuen show. I mean, I know that Azumi can't be on this card because of school, which sort of takes the high speed championship out of it. But there are other championships that you could have on here. Utami's on this card. I know that Sai is challenging for the future Stardom title, so the SWA would be perfect here. Have B versus a member of Donna Del Mondo. Why not Syuri?
See if you can invite the Marvelous Trio again.
Oh my god, that'd be incredible. Absolutely. But yeah, I can sort of see where people are coming from. Anyway, a quick update then of the Goddess of Stardom Tag League standings, but it's more a case of what's the fucking point, because the red block, currently there are only 2 teams that have got any points whatsoever. So currently at the top are Crazy Bloom with 2 points, then Aphrodite with 1 point. However, they are the tag champs, and of their 3 matches, they've lost 2 of them. And then Devil Duo have lost all of their matches, they've got 0 points. Wingori have got 0 points, and MK Sisters have got 0 points. Will point out at this point, Wingori and Devil Dew have only had 1 match each. The blue block is a little bit more rounded out. They've had a few more matches. Momo AZ are at the top with 6 points. Colour Me Pop are second with 4 points. Black Widows are third with 3 points, though they've had less matches. And then Grab the Top and Dream H are at the bottom with 2 points. But again, Grab the Top have only had 1 match. Do you think, Chris... I meant to say this at the start. We obviously last week we told everyone that we'd completely ballsed up our predictions because we didn't realise that one team from the red block had to take on everyone from the blue block and vice versa. My only problem with that is whatever the final is, we will have already seen.
Yeah.
I mean, that occurred to me today. I was like, oh, wouldn't it be good if Momo AZ versus Aphrodite is the final? Hang on, we'll have already seen... That's why I don't really understand why they've done it this way.
It seems like just a way to be different.
Yeah, different's not always good, though, is it? Let's be perfectly honest.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It just reminds... Like, I once saw this picture, it was like a bunch of forks and then one that was broken in half. It's like, just because you were different doesn't mean you were useful.
This Sendai Cinderella show then, Chris, obviously we know that it's going to be main evented by Mayu versus Utami. My first question is, does Mayu drop the belt? If I put you on the spot now, does Mayu drop the belt here to Utami?
I can't think of a better story, really, and Utami could be fun. No, I don't think Utami's quite going to take the red belt yet.
I'm inclined to agree. The only reason I agree is with Mayu on top, you have got a bona fide main eventer for these big shows. I don't think you've quite built... I mean, it sounds stupid to say you haven't quite built Utami. She's just won a fucking round-robin tournament. But I don't think she's quite the person to headline these enormous shows just yet. The only thing with that is then, Chris... You look at who is left to challenge Mayu. I mean, I've seen people. I can't remember who it was on the Discord. I'm so sorry. I will note your names down next episode. But someone mentioned Konami potentially being a challenger. I'd love to see that.
She does have a challenge in the back.
She does. But do you see Konami taking the belt off Mayu?
Hang on, who's beaten her recently? So
Death.
Konami have. Okay, yeah, no, at India Climax, Death.
The story that I've seen bandied about is obviously originally the 10th anniversary show was supposed to be Arisa versus Mayu, and that was all going to be built up around that, and presumably Arisa was going to take the red belt, which made all the sense in the world. With Arisa's untimely retirement, that currently stands at Julia. Now, do you have Mayu hold the belt through November, through December, those 3 big shows we've still got, and year-end climax, to then go into the anniversary show and drop the belt to Julia? My thoughts with that is, because if Mayu doesn't drop it to Utami here, I think she defends it against Konami at one of the big shows. I mean, it'll be interesting to see who the other challenges are. Then drops it to Julia, and I think Julia drops the white belt before the 10th anniversary show, and I think she does drop that belt to Konami.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I can't think of a better way to do it. But again, like, every time this comes up, it's a case of Stardom is so erratic with their booking sometimes that, like, you couldn't really tell. Like, they sometimes just throw the belt on people for seemingly no reason.
My final sort of point about the Sendai Cinderella show, they aren't announcing the card until the 2nd of November, so we'll talk a little bit more about the card once on next week's podcast. My question to you is, you've been given the book. What do you put on this Sendai Cinderella show? We need a white belt defense. I mean, I should have asked before. I mean, I presume Julia is going to retain.
Yeah, I presume that as well. If I'm doing a white belt defense, are you going to shout at me if I say Death?
I'm not going to shout at you. I mean, technically, she does have a claim to it. Is that something that you want on a big show?
I was on some awful level, yes. But also, I'm trying to think who else has a white belt claim. Not many people.
I mean, they seem to have been. I seem to remember there was some sort of thing between Momo and Julia, and Momo versus Julia is a very, very sexy looking matchup, so that would fit in perfect. If you've got Momo versus Julia and Mayu versus Utami as your two top matches, that is a very, very strong looking card. You throw on, say, a high speed defense, you throw on Natsupoi versus Azumi, you throw on B. Priestley versus someone for the SWA championship, and that becomes a very, very, very interesting card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely the potential there. We do not know, because honestly, even just thinking on the logical booking level, I can't think of who has a white belt shot other than Death.
Well, Julia lost to Konami and Himika in the 5-star.
So Konami's a possibility.
Konami could challenge here. The only thing is, and this is what was in the Discord. Someone brought up Konami when I brought up Momo, and I'm all for that. But in my opinion, if Konami challenges Julia with all of this momentum that you've supposedly built behind Konami with the turn, I think she's got to take the belt. And I think it's too early to take the belt off Julia. I think Julia holds it until either the Osaka show on the 20th of December, or the year-end climax show. I think she drops the white belt there, which gives her enough time to challenge Mayu, because she has got that challenge in the bank, having beat her in the 5-star.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That's my thinking. I'm probably completely wrong, but that's what I'm thinking in regards to the way we go forward, because I think Konami needs a singles championship now to really cement her as a higher sort of almost main event talent, because coming out of the 5-star, she was one of maybe 4 people who really, really had some momentum behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing then, we announced last week in a roundabout way, because last week's recording was not great because of the lag, so we apologise for that. But we announced that we are going to be doing a Stardom end of year awards, and we were trying to work out how we were going to do it with the year-end climax show. So the year-end climax show, the current holding date, as I mentioned last week, is the 26th of December. Now, that doesn't give us a lot of time before the end of the year to then get everyone to vote and to get everyone's tally together and stuff before the end of the year. So what we've decided to do is we are going to do from year-end climax to year-end climax, because that's when the podcast started. The podcast started, our very first show as a duo was in Blackpool was the year-end climax 2019. So what we're going to do is we're going to go from year-end climax 2019 and run to Osaka, so the 20th of December. What we'll do then is we will release the ballot on the 21st of December. We'll then close it, tally everything up, and release the results on our final episode of the year. The categories then, Chris, I don't know why I said Chris at the end of that, are as follows. So this is...
Okay, who else would you be talking to?
I don't know why I said that, to be perfectly honest. So these are the categories. So we've got Stardom Wrestler of the Year, and all of the options are all of the wrestlers from Stardom. We haven't included Mina, we haven't included Natsupoi. Basically, anyone that debuted at the Yokohama Cinderella show, we haven't included. We've got Stardom Match of the Year, and that's more the reason we're not releasing it yet, because we've still got so many big shows to come. Stardom Show of the Year, Stardom Most Improved Wrestler, Stardom Feud of the Year, and then Stardom Moment of the Year. And then for each of these categories, there are a multiple choice of options. What we'll do is, to our Discord, we'll show those categories and ask if there are any suggestions to add to them. For example, a match of the year that we might have missed, or a moment of the year that sort of resonated with someone and we've forgotten about. And then we'll release them. So thank you to everyone that said, yeah, do that, it's a great idea, on Twitter. And yeah, hopefully we'll get a really interesting way to round off Stardom's 2020. With that, Chris, let's sign off. We'll be back next Sunday with the Goddess of Stardom Night 5 and hopefully Night 6. Night 6, again, is the one at Korakuen that we've been talking about. If it is uploaded, then we will talk about it on Sunday. If it is not fully uploaded by Sunday, we'll record on Tuesday and release it on Tuesday night, because I'd rather do the entire Korakuen show than half-arse it on Sunday and miss out some of the matches. So we'll do it that way. But again, depending on its release, we'll tell everyone via Twitter and Discord on Sunday. But for the moment, the recording is taking place on Sunday for those two shows. As always, guys, thank you so much for listening. You can subscribe to the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review and leave us any sort of feedback. It really does help the podcast out. You can talk to us on Twitter, Facebook. You can find us on Twitter at the Stardomcast. Join the Facebook group Podmania Podcast. Check out the website www.podmania.co.uk, where you can check out all of the Stardomcast's archived episodes and all of our match ratings. You can talk to me on Twitter at @RealRobGoodwin. Chris, where can they find you?
At Liam Gallagher.
Sure, why not? Thanks so much for listening, guys, and we'll talk to you guys again soon.